All right. I hope it's working. I hope it's working. All right. I'm gonna check to make sure it's working, just because I've had so many. All right. It looks like yes, everything looks good. Okay, here we go. How you doing? How you doing? I'm glad you're back. This is day two of Unit One, Lesson Two, uh, hourly rates and pay. Okay. If you completed day one and you click submit, and now you're looking to continue on, you might see a screen like this. You might see a screen that looks like this. You've already responded. It says you can fill this form out only once. Like all this. What you're gonna do is you can click edit your response. Right? I let you edit these things because we work on them over multiple days. Um, I'm gonna click on that just so I get rid of this. Okay. So this we've already done on day one. There's the video. There was our learning targets. Boop 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 boop. And now we're gonna change our response here. You click. I've already saved my response. I'd like to continue the next section. That's how you move from one section to the next. Is go to this one after you've probably saved. Okay. So I click next, and there I am on day two. Right. We're still on day two, where I'm still providing instructional support. We're still looking at the worked examples and going through full practice problems. And then I have you work on them a little independently, and then I show you how to do it. And then after we get through these first 3 days are instructional support. On day 4, 5, and 6 of this plan, you'll be on your own, and you'll just come to class, ask questions as needed. All right. Let's take a look at those learning targets. Remember, by the end of this thing, you should be able to say, I can compute weekly, monthly, and biweekly earnings given an annual salary. We've actually done, um, golly, some of these. At least, I think we already done the semi-monthly and biweekly last time. You should also be able to compute hourly pay and overtime pay given an hourly rate. We haven't done that quite yet, but we will get to it. I already went over the vocab in day one. If you need that again, go back to that video where we went over the vocab. There's also reading that explains vocab. This very instructional video that you're watching right now will go boop right into the spot right here. This is the one I did already, which has terrible audio, and I just couldn't do that to you. It was just so terrible. I needed to re-record and spend more time making sure that you had quality instruction. All right. So we're moving on to example three. How to find weekly pay given an hourly rate. So here's the situation. Maureen works at a local Chicken King restaurant. Her regular hourly wage is $9.70. If Maureen regularly works 40 hours per week, what is her regular weekly pay? Can you figure this out? Well, here's the solution. Multiply the hours by the hourly wage. So for instance, Maureen here, she gets paid $9.70 per hour. She worked 40 hours, so $9.70 times 40 equals 388. Maureen's regular weekly pay here is $388. Fairly straightforward, right? I hope you all have at one point tasted the scrumptiousness that is dinosaur barbecue. And in this situation, we have Jamar, who happens to work at the Dinosaur Barbecue restaurant. And in this situation, his hourly wage is $14.25. If Jamar works 40 hours per week during summer break, what is his weekly gross pay? All right, this is where you pause me because you really need to try these on your own. Please don't be afraid of making mistakes. Please don't be afraid of getting the wrong answer because you actually learn more when you make mistakes. And it has something to do with the neurology of the surprise. And you get a wrong answer, your brain is surprised, and because of that surprise, your brain opens up certain neurological pathways to say, we need to process this more. We need to figure out what was so surprising with this situation, and you actually learn more. It's crazy. What's even crazier, you learn more when you make mistakes, even if you don't even know you're making the mistakes. Even then, your brain's like, there's something wrong here. Yeah. Anyway, you're pausing me, and you're working on this. Great. Okay, we're back. Through the magic of video pausing, I'm going to give this a shot. All right, it's really the same situation we had with Maureen, right? Which shouldn't be too surprising. That's how we do things. Maureen made $9.70 per hour. worked 40 hours a week, so we multiplied the two things to find out what her weekly pay would be. Well, I want to find out what Jamar's weekly pay is. I have his hourly wage, his regular rate, and I know how many hours he worked. So here I go. 14.25 per hour multiplied by 40. Let me get the math machine coming up here to help me out. Oops, sorry, I have, there we go. We have a little bit of a, a PA system in the house, so sometimes that will go off. Sorry about that. 14.25 per hour times 40 hours, right? There we go, $570. So Jamar gets $570, per week. Yeah, that's a pretty decent paycheck, Let's look at Sean here. Let's see what's going on with him. Sean works at Amazon warehouse. Sean's regular weekly pay is $509.25 for working 35 hours each week. What is Kaishan's hourly pay? So this is a little different than what we just did. Before, we found out we were given what the hourly wage rate was and how many hours they worked, and what you were trying to find was the weekly pay. In this situation, we're given the weekly pay, how many hours they worked, and we're trying to find the hourly pay. So pause this and give this a shot. You're going to have to kind of undo and kind of reverse what you did in the previous problem. Okay? Give it a shot. You got this. Great. All right. Wasn't too hard, right? Wasn't too hard. Maybe you're seeing the pattern of how we roll here. Oop, that should be up. So I have $509.25. And before what I was doing was I was multiplying by 35. Wait, doesn't make sense. I'm going to get a really big number. What this is going to do for me, I'm going to multiply his weekly by 35 weeks. I'm going to get how much you get paid over 35 weeks. While that might be useful information in some contexts, I want to find out, I want to break this weekly pay by how many hours he worked. If I break down the weekly pay, how many hours into 35 equal hourly segments, that will give me his hourly rate. Can I feel how that works? $509.25 divided by 35 hours he worked. Cut that weekly paycheck into 35 equal sections, which is $14.55. That is what Kaishan is making per hour at Amazon warehouse. $14.55. Can I feel how hopefully that feel good? Yeah. So here we are. Now this is actually the Amazon warehouse in Henrietta, although they don't have this giant sign that was digitally added to this image. But I've had some students that have worked there in the past. Here's a challenge problem. I'm going to let you be completely independent with the challenge problem. That's why they're a challenge. And usually I'm throwing a curveball at you in some way or another. Let me give you the situation, and you can work on it on your own time. Envy. Envy works a full-time 40 hours per week. Envy has a yearly salary of $27,560 per year. Find Envy's hourly rate if she works no overtime and takes no vacation. So if all these figures are consistent all year round, what is Envy's hourly rate based on the information you have right here? All right. You probably want to pause right now, but I'm not going to go over it. I'm going to leave this one as one for you to kind of puzzle out. If I go over all of them, there's always going to be that couple students that kind of like copy down what I'm doing, and that's really not getting them where they need to be. So I need to throw a couple of these in here, a little unsupported, get you trying, at least some of you trying some of these. All right, that's what it's about. It's about building those math muscles, and you don't build math muscles by watching me work out. Okay, we need you lifting those math muscle weights. All right, and we're going to build a beautiful math brain in you. All right, so example 4 here, calculating overtime rates. Ooh, Mr. loves his overtime. I miss overtime. I don't get overtime anymore. I'm salaried now. If Maureen, from example 3, if she was to work some overtime, she would receive an hourly rate of 1.5 times her regular pay. What is Maureen's hourly overtime rate? How do you find that? Well, multiply her hourly rate by 1.5, which is really 1.5 as a decimal. So here we go. There's the $9.70 that Maureen made in example 3. We're going to multiply it by 1.5, and we find out that Maureen is getting paid $14.55 when she's making overtime, right? When she goes over that 40 hours, when she works that 41st hour and the 42nd hour and every hour after that, she's getting paid $14.55. This is important to know because you might not want to get ripped off by some employer who's not paying, who aren't paying you right? So that's why we're here. Here's a situation of, let's see, I think it's Shaina. I hope I got that right. I'm gonna feel terrible if I didn't. All right, well, you're gonna please, if I get this wrong, correct me, and I'll do better next time. Shaina works as an admission and financial aid counselor for the University of Rochester. Shaina's regular hourly rate of pay is $16.75. What is Shaina's hourly overtime rate? So you are given the hourly rate of pay. You're here to answer what is the hourly overtime. Okay, it's going to be basically the same problem. Before you were given Maureen's hourly, you had to convert that into the overtime rate. Pause the video and give it a shot. Great, we're back. That should have been pretty easy. I'm hoping that was pretty easy. You said okay, $16.75. That's her regular hourly rate. She's working overtime now, and I know that that's 1.5 time and a half, which means I use the decimal 1.5 for time and a half. So this should help me figure this out. I'll throw it in my calculator. 16.75 times 1.5, and boom, $25. And ooh, I got a rounding issue here. All right, so I want to round to the nearest cent, so I need to figure out whether this 2 needs to stay a 2 or go up to a 3. To figure that out, I need to look at the thousandth place next to it and determine if that's a 5 or greater. In this case, it's a 5. It means my 2 has to go up to a 3. Okay, that's how it's done. $25.13. $25. I'll put a little squiggly in here to say that I've rounded. $25.13. That little squiggly, the little in the near your escape key on your keyboard, just says I'm approximating here. It's not quite equals. You know, a lot of math teachers like to be precise in their expressions. Even better, I would find the double squiggly, but I don't know where to find that on my keyboard, so I think the squiggly would be good enough. $25.13. So she's making $25.13 per hour for every hour over that 40. Okay. Here is the University of Rochester campus, for those of you who have never been. All right. So now we're going to take it up a notch, okay? So again, I apologize if I'm not getting this name right. Shaina. Shaina works as an admission and financial aid counselor at the University of Rochester. Shaina is scheduled for 40 regular hours each week at $16.75 per hour. But for the first 4 weeks, before the university opens, there are a lot of students that need assistance with financial aid, and her boss has asked her to increase her hours to 60 hours per week. She's going to work Saturdays and Sundays for a little while. How much per week does Shaina get paid when she works her regular 40 hours per week? All right, so pause this and give it a shot. Okay, magic of video, I'm back. All right, so let's see. How much per week does Shaina get paid when she works her regular 40 hours? Well, we've done this before. It's the 16.75 times 40. That's the regular hours. We're not talking about any overtime yet. I'm just talking about those regular 40 hours. All right, so go on to my calculator. 16.75 multiplied by 40. You know, just think about it. It's paid $16.75 per hour, which means, you know, I need to multiply, and I want to figure out how much she gets paid for 40 hours. Well, I need to multiply by 40. And there it is, $670. $670 is what she gets paid for her first 40 regular hours of a given week. Here's the challenge, though. Here's the challenge. Can you calculate a little bit of overtime? Now, I haven't taught it to you. I'm going to teach you how to do the overtime in there. I'm actually wondering if maybe you kind of have an intuitive sense for how this gets done. I think you can do it. I do. I really do think you already got it in you. Um, and that's why this challenge problem is. I'm not going to go over this because first of all, I'm going to show it to you next week, and no, next week, next lesson. Um, but I'm going to have you do this yourself. I'm not going to show you this one. This will force some of you who are just math watchers to actually pick up some of those math weights and feel the burn a bit. Okay? All right. Remember, if this is hard, if you're struggling, if you're making mistakes, all these things are not necessarily bad things. I'm going to try to keep it so that you're not struggling so hard you give up. I'm not going to try to make it so hard that you can't do it. But I do want to challenge you. I do want you to struggle because, again, it's just like building muscle. If you're not just a little bit sore after a workout, then you haven't made those little micro tears in that muscle that tells you that you're going to build new muscle where those tears have been. If it's not a little challenging, then you're not building new neural pathways, and I'm not doing my job. So I do need to keep that challenge up. Hopefully, it's interesting to you, and it gives you at least a little bit of challenge. That's the goal. All right. After you get this answer, you're going to click yes. I'm going to submit my responses now, and I will edit my responses to return and go to the next section. We'll click next. I will click submit. Now my answers are saved for this lesson, and when I want to continue on, I will edit my response. There's all my saved answers, and this time I will answer. I've already saved my progress and would like to move on. Oh, I got to do it twice? That's kind of annoying. So I have to do it twice to get to day 3. There's day 3. Okay? I'm going to turn the recording off now. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that we're providing you some useful learning. All right? Until next time.